6:03.
Oh, 6:03.
Recording in progress.
6:01.
First item on the agenda is to elect a chair of the select board. Motion?
Well, Lisa, any comments? Start you right off.
You're gonna start me right off. Well, I guess my first motion, I'd like to nominate Bob Hartnett as our select board chair.
Who voted you in? Yeah.
I will certainly second that.
I will accept that nomination. So that's it?
That's it.
There's no fanfare, there's no balloons, there's no nothing?
And there's no big introduction by yourself either. We've heard those 3 times now.
Great. Okay, then, moving right along on our agenda. First item of business is to make sure this meeting is now closed to all public members. No, I guess I'm not going to make a speech, but I will say welcome to our newest select board member, Lisa. And I will ask if, Lisa, would you like to say anything as your
Sure,
first time in the chair up here?
thanks. So it feels really strange being on this side of the table versus that side of the table, as you might imagine. But I'm really excited to help our town and work together with everyone, as well as my other select board members. And I'm really excited for things to come. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa. I also want to say thank you to Stacy and Dylan, who also stepped up when they knew that there was a need here. It was great to see so many people interested in filling the positions and getting involved in the town. So thank you for the work that you did to prepare for that. All right, moving along. Is there any changes to the agenda that we have published?
Yeah, I think we have one. We, as a select board, we purchased a new grader and we really should formalize that. I have the lease agreement here to give to Callista, and one of the things it asked for is the minutes where it was mentioned.
Okay, just has to be mentioned.
Well, basically,
That be-
we'll move that we purchase a new grader and do a 5-year lease with Caterpillar.
Okay. Where do we want to put that, Bob? Under
Wherever you
highways?
Where, yeah, we can do it right
Highways.
under highways. if you
Yeah.
want.
Yep.
Just not add to it.
Exactly. Okay. Any other changes to the agenda? No? Okay. Yes,
But initially, just want to do an update under other business if that's possible.
sure. Okay, minutes of the last select board meeting. Any proposed changes?
I don't have any changes, and I'm not pulling them out of my, thank you. They're in the pile somewhere. I'm not pulling them out of my pile, so she threw a piece at me. I don't have any changes, and to get the discussion started, I'll move that they be approved as printed.
Okay. Lisa, would you like to second that? You've looked at them.
Sure, I'll
No
second
issues?
that.
Okay. And I assume no issues with the minutes? Okay, great. All right. Motion passed, minutes are approved as written. Treasurer's report?
Revenue for February was $28,477.06. Expenditures were $293, $19.82. And at the end of February, we had $231,511.78 in the bank. The delinquent taxes due to the town of Reading, I actually had some come in today, so the actual amount due to the town of Reading as of today is $67,948.95. And there are 3 that are scheduled for tax sale April 10th.
2,
3.
3.
You said April 10th, Callista?
Yes.
April 10th.
Any of those under mortgage?
One of them does have a mortgage, so there'll really only be two.
There'll only
We're
be
still gonna
two.
jump through all the hoops with all the paperwork and everything.
And so 10 April is when the announcement goes out?
It's when the tax sale is.
That's when the tax sale actually
Yep.
occurs?
Yep.
Okay. Notices that have to go out in advance of
The
that?
notices have already gone.
Okay, thank you.
What time? On the 10th?
I think it either did 4 or 5, I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
It's in the afternoon.
I move they be approved as presented. Treasurer's report be approved as presented.
Let's second that. Calista, can I ask, so who conducts the,
John
Text.
Springer,
John Springer?
yep.
Okay. And it takes place here, I assume?
Yep.
Great.
How often do they actually make it all the way to a tax sale?
It's hard to say. There's been several that have gone and they get redeemed within a year, mostly. We had one that didn't, and that was, we knew that was gonna happen. Actually, we knew one was not gonna be redeemed, and the town was on it.
I don't think, in my terms, Lisa, I don't think there's been more than 3 or 4 that the town's ever ended up with.
But are there a number that kind of go to this first step? Where
Are
you
there what?
actually have, so 10th of April, that starts a 1-year clock, it sounds like,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I assume there are a number of properties that go to this, that start this 1-year clock, but just don't finish it out, as you
Yes.
said. Yeah. Okay. Okay, treasurer's report is approved as written. Starting down the action items, highways.
Glenn on?
Is Glenn on?
nope,
Not there?
nope,
All right, I'll pick it up then.
Thanks, Mike.
Basically, we've got all our equipment back and running, finally. And we are trying to repair roads as best we can, although the mud seems to be cropping up faster than we can spread gravel. Last couple of days, 3 or 4 days, or 2 days have been a blessing relative to hardening up the roads a little bit. They even did a little bit of scraping yesterday where they could bust the top off. How that turns out, we'll have to wait and see when it warms up. Probably not as well as we would like, but at least it'll smooth it up a little bit. The select board did purchase a replacement grader. Ours, the one that we had, was 38 years old, I believe, had 13,500 hours on it and needed a motor job and a reconditioning, which was quoted by the John Deere Group United down in Springfield at $87,000. And for a 38-year-old tractor or grader, $87,000 doesn't make any sense. We found a 2004 in Athens. Athens voted the week before we bought it to buy a 2010. The 2004 has 6,200 hours on it and is in really good condition for a 20-year-old grader. So we purchased that at an amount of $80,000 and got $12,000 trade-in for ours. So I have a 5-year lease agreement here for the other $68,000, which we need to, I'll work with Calista tomorrow to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed. It'll mean about $17,000 a year payments, and that's probably a lot less than a repair bill this year on the grader.
yeah, I think it's over that.
I think it is too. So I move that we proceed with the lease with Caterpillar rather than taking out a loan.
So where does the $17,000 a year come from then for the lease?
Well, it'll come out of the general fund.
And we have enough in the general fund to cover that?
This is one of those situations where that we'll have to find the money in the general fund somewhere to cover it. Hopefully, when we get all the flood money back, we'll be back in good shape. We do have an equipment account, which I think for the grader had something like $9,000 in it anyway for just repairs. So there's half of it right there, Bob. So
Yep.
we're not looking for a lot of money.
Great.
Well, actually, this year it only had 4,000 in it, so,
4,000?
yeah.
But it's so far.
But that's one of those accounts where you spend what you have to spend to repair the stuff.
We're just gonna end up saving us money.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I just wondered where the money would actually come from. I know we have
Going forward,
everything allocated.
going forward, it'll be under a
It'll be under-
lease line.
Okay.
Can I have a second?
Lisa, any issues on that chart?
No,
No?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passed for us to pursue the lease of a used 2004 grader. Bob, anything else on highways?
No, we're coming up to the next topic.
Okay. FEMA and bridge repair update.
I don't, is Gordy on? I don't think he's on either. FEMA update, we have not met with FEMA for 2 weeks now, right?
You don't have to sound so happy about it.
Starts tomorrow.
So tomorrow will probably be a little longer meeting than normal. We'll have to bring him up to date with everything that we've done in the past 2 weeks. And he will bring us up to date with where they stand on the 7 or 8 projects that we've submitted, and I have only signed off on 2, so they are 5 or 6 projects behind, getting them back to us for signatures. He comes back every now and then with a question, which we answer, and he's accepted them all so far, so.
We have 2 projects that are obligated now, which means they've totally approved and been sent to the state for money. We're waiting on the state to get our money.
That is Spear Cemetery and Caper Hill.
Yep. Yep.
I
went ahead and checked it.
got a question today on Brown Schoolhouse, and
Yep.
the other 3 are Weld Cemetery, Tattle Street, South Pucker Brush, and 20 miles. My next project will be Grasshopper Lane, as soon as he opens up the forms for me to fill out. Bridge repair update, the Archer Bridge, they're pulling the forms for the wing wall cement today. They're gonna start backfilling the foundation tomorrow, weather permitting, and I think it will be, but tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. That's gonna take a few days, and then they will, a lot of the rock is on that side of the brook already, so they will start placing the riprap upstream from the bridge on the southern abutment. And once that's done, Archer Bridge will be complete. Grasshopper Culvert is open, is basically complete. We've had some settling problems, as you can imagine, with the size of the hole that was up there. When we filled it, you do the best you can with compaction and things like that, but with the rainstorm we got just a few days after we did that, there was some settling that occurred that we have fixed. We have one wing wall that's got a little bit of an issue, and they're in the process of getting all the I's dotted and T's crossed to get that fixed, and that's on the outlet side of the culvert. So that's basically where that stands, and when the roads dry out enough and the frost is gone, we will change that grade a little bit, but we think that the highway that was left is heaved enough so that that dip that you see is exaggerated and will not be that bad once the frost comes out of the road, but we'll regrade it and get a little more gradual grade from the culvert up.
Can you
address a little bit behind at my house and Johnny's and the bridge on Aggie Hill and that sort of stuff? Is this the right time to talk about?
I was going to talk about that during the EWP update.
Okay.
That's being funded by EWP,
Yeah.
Carrie.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So that's what I got for highways and bridges.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
And excuse me, and FEMA and bridge repairs.
All right. Nothing else on FEMA or bridge repairs? On to committee appointments. So what do we have to discuss here on the committee appointment
The
side?
ones that are highlighted are the ones that are up.
Did you give me a copy?
I did. You can't have mine.
That's right, I can go by the book.
It's right.
Is it in this? Oh, there it is, yeah.
I highlighted them all. I have some updates on some of them, but
So I assume we should just go down this list and each highlighted one we'll
yep.
discuss, see if we're just going to keep as is, okay? All right, the list I have in front of me starts with the Planning Commission and the ZBA. The only item, the only position that I see that is up for renewal this year is Stacy's as a 2024 term. So Planning Commission, who's speaking on behalf of the Planning Commission?
I will. Looks like a piece of the barn roof, maybe, little loose with planning commission. The vote was 2 in favor, 2 not in favor of Stacy going, and I don't know if anybody talked to the planning commission.
Any new people, you mean, Kevin?
No, anybody about this item on the agenda?
I'm not sure what you're asking, I'm not sure what you're saying, Kevin. Are you saying, it sounds like there was a vote, but you're saying that you didn't know that that this position was coming open? Or I'm not tracking.
I'm not sure if this is a committee or a commission. I thought committees were what was voted on in,
We also elect replace the term for the planning commission at the same time, always have.
Okay, so I guess to move this along, are you saying that these are appointed positions,
Yeah,
select board appoints? From what I'm hearing, the planning commission had a vote regarding this position, but it was 2 in favor, 2 against.
yes.
Voted on a recommendation.
What does that mean?
So the process has been, if there are people interested in the position and they do an interview or they speak to the planning commission and or the select board, the planning commission will take a vote to provide a recommendation to the select board, which then appoints.
Thank you. Just clarifying that the vote was for a recommendation.
Right.
Understand. All right.
I was at the meeting and I would point out that a member made a motion to recommend Stacy Gallagher. It was seconded. When the vote was taken, the person that recommended his appointment voted no, and it came out 2-2, and Stacy did not vote. And I believe that Stacy had the full right to vote had he wished to, because if you're running for a town office, you don't not vote.
Yep.
You vote for yourself, normally.
Right.
So I think, and Stacy said he didn't know whether to vote or not vote, and I didn't get into the middle of that discussion. But with that said, I'm going to move that we appoint Stacy Gallagher to a 5-year term.
Are these positions are typically 5-year terms?
Yes.
Okay. Lisa, do you have an opinion?
I guess my only question is, I'm hopeful, I've been to a lot of the planning commission meetings recently, and I'm just hopeful that this group can work together. I think that Jane made some comments at the meeting, and I just want to make sure that that's what's going to happen going forward. This commission has a lot of work to do, and I just want to know that the work will get done. And so, let me know your thoughts on that, Stacy.
Well, I think this is really kind of a great spin, because I've never been noted as being a negative person. And there are 3 or 4 people on this committee that are trying to spin this as me being a negative person. I've made it really clear, my only intentions of being on this commission were to create transparency and communicate to the public the things that the commission were working on. And to my total amazement, on Wednesday's meeting, it spun right back in my face with Mark Corbin saying that I was one of the most negative people, and Kevin doing what he did. You know, he made a motion and then flipped course and did not recommend or vote to recommend me. So I've had so many conversations running for the select board of the complexity of the divide in this community, and I'm still, to this day, after having all those conversations, a little bit baffled. I don't know how I've been vilified. I have stood up. I've wanted communication. I've wanted clarity. I wanted it documented. I don't want things to happen that the public's not aware of, which has been a lot over the years. And when I start putting together the pieces of the puzzle, as an active member of the Planning Commission, I find it's pretty deeply rooted. So I will do and serve on this commission if I'm appointed, with every intention of trying to create clarity and bridge the divide. But I'm not going to sit back and be a pushover. I'm not going to let people try to work behind the scenes to make things happen and then land them on the residents of this community without them knowing before it takes place. I don't think it's fair to the community, and I'm not going to sit behind my gates up on my hill and pretend that this isn't happening, because it is happening, and I'm going to do, whether I'm on this commission or not, I'm going to do everything I can to create clarity and bridge the divide in this community. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to turn, and I will give you a chance here, Kevin, just a second. I don't want this to turn into a debate about what, how the Planning Commission is functioning right now. I wanted to hear that you would accept the appointment, it sounds like. I know you said a lot of things. I think all of the select people up here believe that we want to make sure that the Planning Commission functions as a well-tuned, integrated unit, and that any kind of discord within there, I mean, it's not beneficial. It's not beneficial for the town or the individuals that are involved. Kev, I will give you some time, since Stacy took a little bit of time to rebut or say something if you'd like. If you don't want to, that's fine too, but that's going to be the end of it. We're not going to keep going back and forth, okay?
Right.
Yep.
I understand that. But I wrote a little note here, and it just says, fear nothing but the potential and actual negative energy, because there will be some. Time has always been that way. If there is honest talent with attentive listening and honest talent, good will happen.
Hard to disagree with that. Hard to disagree with that.
Well, I don't think the select board has the whole story. That's my only comment.
I didn't hear what you said.
He said he doesn't think the select board has the whole story.
No.
Well, the select board, the other 2 members of the select board should watch the entire video of the last 2 meetings,
Okay?
if you want the whole story.
Okay.
That's not the whole story. It goes way back, Robert. It goes way, way back.
Before Stacy was appointed.
I'm not sure. I would say there is, it goes before, yes, definitely. Most
I was only
definitely.
appointed in July, so.
I know,
I think that-
it goes back.
I think that the statement that Jane made, she was challenged at a couple of points. She came up with a statement saying that, in her words, 7:58 of the meeting, 58 minutes into the meeting, and they're still talking about the minutes or some other things, and haven't done any work. She says, I think we should stop right here, put everything that's happened prior to this behind us, and we should move forward as a committee with everybody working. There was a little bit more discussion, and at 8:05, I think you can check the minutes, Mark allowed me to speak, and I echoed what Jane had said. And if they do move forward, I think there's a lot of talent on that committee currently.
Yeah.
But they can't move forward expecting that everybody is always going to vote the way a few want it. It's not going to happen. What's that?
Everything.
Huh?
That should be with everything. That's democracy.
That's the way it works.
Absolutely right.
That's the way it works. But the discourse has to be non-personal. I can sit here and argue with anybody in this room or discuss a sensitive subject with anybody in this room, and I never take it home, and I haven't for many, many years. And that's the way it has to be. And if it works, if Jane is successful and it works, I think that committee has a lot of talent. Kevin has got, 30-plus years on it. He knows the history. Mark is new, Stacy is new, Jane is new, and Eve is real new. She's only been on there a couple of months. But I think
But
there's
everybody brings-
a diversity of talents there that'll work well.
That's just it. Everybody brings something unique to the table, which is great. As long as we can have open and honest debate and discussion, and then shake hands at the end if you disagree, and there's going to be disagreements. And I think we can work well together. So anyway, getting back to the motion, there has been a motion, and it's been seconded. Did you, actually, I asked your opinion, I didn't know, did you second Stacy's?
I had not seconded it.
Okay,
I will second the motion.
okay. All right, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Stacy? Aye. All right, so Stacy will remain in place now and start a new 5-year term. Next position is Patrick McLean.
He
Memorial
does
Day
not,
Administrator?
he does not want to do it anymore. So we need to look for somebody else or approach the cemetery commission and see if they would take it over, which has not been done yet. I haven't had a chance to talk to Adam.
Yeah, I wish I knew.
Is this a 1 year? It's a 1 year term? for
Yes.
this? Year over year?
What position is that for?
Memorial Day Administrator.
Jerry, does that mean?
No.
All in favor?
That was really quick, Jerry. That was really quick.
Is there anybody who is interested? No? Okay.
Any of these, if nobody is interested and appointed, we will put it in the informer again and reach out to people like the
Okay.
cemetery commission or whatever, but we will put it out.
Can we also put it in Front Porch Forum, Calista?
If you would like to, you may.
All right.
I do not post for the select board on Front Porch Forum,
Okay.
but please check with me on
Yes, ma'am.
positions.
This next one's where we get Jerry.
This is Jerry. He's already said yes to the next one.
EC Fiber Committee. John Malcolm has,
They've both agreed
They
to
both
do it
agreed?
again. And I have a resolution somewhere from them that we have to sign.
We have to sign something for them?
Yep.
It's for the EC.
For
the
EC Fiber?
EC Fiber.
Okay,
For our parole officers.
all right.
And it's
John?
actually one I attest to and sign, so you're stuck.
So
So we can get
John's,
that at the signature?
John's, yeah, he's willing. John's willing.
Yes, I already talked to both of them.
All right, so good?
Yep.
We're good with that one. ARPA committee is next. Does this mean
No,
all of
you
the
missed
members?
one.
What am I
Here.
missing?
The, SWCT,
Sweat tack.
select tack, is that what it is?
Southern Windsor County Transportation Advisory Committee.
But
Gordy
that's
said-
not highlighted.
It's not, because I didn't realize when I did this that Gordy had said no, he didn't want to continue.
But it's not highlighted on my list, so Gordy's in it.
No, he's not. He won't show up.
Gordy's not
so-
on here, right?
Yeah, well, he
Gordy's in.
said no. He
Okay.
said he was done with that.
So we need that
So we need
position
that
filled
too.
as well. Okay. All right, ARPA committee.
Is this still functioning?
No, not that I'm aware of. I think that
It's
you
not.
think it's time to disband it.
Okay.
So that could be done right now.
Do we need, so all of the ARPA funds have to be
By the end of this year.
committed by
have
the
to
end
be
of this
committed.
year?
Right.
They've made their recommendations and everything now.
Yeah.
So I think they were
So I'd
done.
imagine we could reach out to John if we needed to for any kind of advice, but we don't need a committee on it. Right.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to,
Meet.
I don't think that they're going to take a position on any other suggestions, the way I understood it. When they,
Your report, balls in your court.
what's that?
Balls in your court.
They-
And Sarah's
they were
sitting,
gonna-
Sarah's sitting here shaking her head, yes.
They were going to leave it to the select board to make that decision going forward.
Okay.
And the decisions have already been made. It's
Right.
just implemented pretty much.
So if anything new were to come up between now and the end of the year, there doesn't need to be a committee to review it and then make a recommendation. You can come direct to the select board.
Right.
I don't imagine there will be, but if there was, that's how it worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do we need any kind of a formal motion to disband the ARPA committee?
Just
We
one
don't.
question, just, are there any funds left? I didn't think there were, that weren't committed.
Yeah.
There were no funds left, Bill, because of the last recommendation by your group was to use whatever funds were left, go to the fire truck.
Correct.
And Rex still hasn't actually spent what's been allocated for the field.
Yeah, there's
We
a
vote
lot
to
that hasn't been
use
spent.
that up this year.
And it doesn't have to be spent until the end of '26.
Right, it's just been allocated.
Yep.
Well, if that's the case, then I would, I guess the motion would be, I would move that we discontinue the APRA committee and send them all a thanks for the work that they did.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We thank the ARPA committee for their work. Moving down the list.
The fire chief, deputy chief, and E911 coordinators are a lot like the road foreman. They're appointed until they decide to get done and/or we decide to remove them,
Okay,
okay?
good.
So we don't go through that every year.
Yep. Rec commission.
Yeah, we are moving from a 6-person committee to a 5-person. I think that basically happened with Dominic Ward's resignation, and we are making a recommendation for John Sylvester to take Lisa Kaya's position. And John's here in case he's got to change of heart in the last minute. Okay.
So.
How about Lisa? She knows that.
She knows, yeah. I haven't received that. I haven't asked her for a formal resignation letter. I will, so we have it, something documented. But yeah, we very much appreciate her time and want to thank her. But yeah,
So, Jerry, remind me, we've got 3 for 24 and 3 for 25. Are these 2-year terms?
no, they are varied, and I should have come prepared with this, and I did not. We did revise the terms, and I'm fairly certain we had shared it with Callista within the last 3 to 4 months. If If I didn't, what I will do is I will double check what we have in our meeting minutes, because we did make an adjustment so there wasn't so many all happening at the same time. We do meet Thursday this week, so if anything does need to be changed, amended to that, we will and get it over to you guys.
So you're gonna make them 5-year terms?
No, I think we're gonna stick, we had 1, 2, and 3-year terms, but our bigger concern is not the term length, but the term expiration, if you will. So we want to make sure that those are staggered a bit more, if what you have is 3 and 3 right now.
It is 3 and 3.
Yeah, so we'll get that cleaned up.
So the appointment would be Jerry Marletta and John Sylvester with terms to be determined.
I'm sticking around too, aren't I?
Huh?
I didn't realize mine was up. Yeah, I appoint me, or recommend appointing me. Yeah, I will be staying on board and John will be coming in to Lisa's position.
That'll be good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Dom's term, whatever, I have to double check what his term length was. That's the one that we're recommending not keeping.
Yes, that was this year too.
Right.
Okay. We'll wait to hear from you. And I do think you sent that email. I do think I remember seeing something, but it was several months ago. and
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the right book here. I think I marked it up in my old town report.
I'll take a quick look. If I find it, I'll mention it during other business.
Okay.
All right. So Jerry and John, thank you for agreeing to do that work. Where's John? There he is. Okay.
He's hiding.
All right. Next up is the Green Spaces Committee. It looks like it's the entire group here.
Well, it makes sense to just go year to year, I think, if that's okay with you guys. Everyone's stable and wants to be on it. So if that works okay with you all,
So 1-year terms for all these positions? Yeah.
All 5, Annie?
yes.
Okay. And
They're
no
all-
issues?
They're all
They're
willing,
all-
I assume.
Yeah, they're all willing?
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Energy Committee.
Paul,
We have Paul Doherty.
got any input? Bill? Kevin?
I don't think anybody, or since somebody's term expired, I don't think anybody's is.
Yeah, Paul Doherty's.
Paul,
Yeah.
I think he's on, we're hoping he's gonna continue on, but,
I don't see him on the list here.
well, we're hoping, we have every reason to believe he'll continue on. I can't speak for him. I mean,
Okay.
a nomination or suggestion, I'd certainly, either Kevin or I can make it, but.
No, it's fine. We've just noted in the minutes that you said that he's going to be continuing.
That's
Thanks, Bill.
correct.
Great.
He's on a 10-year contract, no.
That
Yeah.
appears to be a 4-year term?
It looks like it's a, staggered 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
All right, so Paul is remaining in. Tree Warden, Chris Blanchard.
He said he would do it again.
Great.
Kathy said
Kathy.
she said she'd do that again.
Okay.
And we have not had a solid waste management rep for some time. We've been looking, we've been asking about that.
Yeah.
We did have somebody that was gonna step up and do it, but then they decided to move closer to their kids, so.
That's another one for the informer.
That's another one from the informer.
Yep.
Yep.
And Animal Control.
That's a 10-year term.
I think so.
Didn't we vote on
Yeah,
that?
we're changing that one.
I will remain on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
What is the term on that? Is it 1 year or is it, what
I
is it?
think it was 1 year.
Yeah,
1 year?
it would
It was
normally a 1 year.
Yeah.
All right. All right, and then down at the bottom of this page, I have appointed officials by other.
The only one that the select board does is the zoning administrator.
That probably should be moved up into this other list.
Yeah, it should probably. It's always been down there for whatever reason, I don't know why.
All right, yeah, so we'll move that up. And Mr. Allen, are you willing to
Mr.
continue?
Hartnett,
Are you willing to continue serving in that role?
I'm willing if you two wish me to.
We don't have, again, we're not taking motions yet. I'm certainly willing to have you continue in that role.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a 3-year term.
3 years, yep.
Right, that's
Okay,
it.
I think that takes care of all the committee assignments and appointments. Any other items in that committee area, Callista or Bob, that we missed? Okay, great.
I don't think so.
All right, next item on the agenda, action items, liquor license for the greenhouse.
Yep, they've applied to renew their liquor license.
That'll be in our things to sign as we go.
No, we don't sign them anymore. It's
Oh,
all
that's
done
right.
through the portal. I have to put in there the date of the meeting and that it was approved by the select board.
Well,
So I
I
need a motion to approve.
I move that we give them one.
I heartily endorse that.
So
So
second by you.
I would second and.
Should be by Lisa.
It should be by Lisa. You shouldn't do it being the chair.
I will happily second that.
You will happily second.
Am I allowed to happily vote on it?
Yes, you can do that.
Excellent, then I will happily vote on it. Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Next item is EWP update. As you were asking about, Karen. So I've been mentioning for the last couple of months that we're working with the state on doing some preventive maintenance work on Millbrook. And we met, I think it was a week or so ago, with the state river engineer to review the 4 sites that the state has already approved to do this work. Where we're at in the process now is we have to get an engineering firm to come in, design the stream bank protection designs that have been approved by the state. And then once we have an engineering firm that can do that, we can put those designs out to construction companies to actually perform the work.
28th of February, we met with Scott.
20th of February, thank you.
Yeah, it was last Wednesday. It's on yet. Can you revisit the 4 sites, tell me what they are, because I'm not aware of 4, I know there's some of
Yep.
them, but you just remind me.
Sure, so at the Agony Hill Road culvert, just upstream of that, there's lots of debris that's piled up there, so it's removing all that debris, and then also doing some riprap or stream bank armoring
Between there and John.
there and upstream of that.
Okay.
Right. It's actually, that first part goes up past the Swinners area, and so the big curve,
Okay.
we just had in our meeting with the Scott Jensen, the river engineer, he believes that we can make an attempt to coax the river back into its original location. I think that was even before Irene, right?
No, I
Or was
read.
it
As a result of
As a result of Irene,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that one location?
That is all one location.
Okay, okay.
That is all one location.
Up
That's
past,
true.
up to the corner, up to the bend.
Up to the bend in
Okay.
Millbrook there, right,
Okay.
yeah,
275 feet, right?
right, yep.
So there's no timeline yet because,
The timeline is that we have to have the work completed within 1 year of when the state has approved it, and the state approved this work, I think, at the beginning of February.
So it'll have to be done this summer, basically,
Right.
once the land dries out.
and I know the south end of our property is not part that you looked at, but we would very much like to have one or all of you come and inspect that. I've talked about it at previous meetings, how it's exposed the big pine tree, and when that goes, and every rain, we're just waiting, asleep, wide awake, it will affect the bridge on 106, and to my knowledge, nobody, I've seen you looking at other parts, and I get it, that's probably not part of it, but it is because of the change in the brook. Not pre-Irene, this is from this last one that changed the brook. and has taken, I don't know how much of our property, I can't estimate the size of it, but 15 good tall full-grown trees and a chunk of land. And now is aiming to 106. And Jim and I can talk till we're blue in the face, and it should be recorded, we talked about it, but it'd be really great if somebody could come and look at it and actually make a record of that. So God forbid, in 1 year, or 5 years, or 10 years, when that happens, it's noted, I mean, we're losing property with every rain now,
Is it the 106 bridge that would be damaged if
It
this
would
happened?
be, yes, it's the bridge on 106, right, just below our house.
That would,
And all that gravel that moved was pushed from the bank over to the other side of the brook, and there's a huge gravel bed there, and it's just eaten away at our property. It just moved it all over. And I think when I mentioned it at one meeting, Gordy was saying, oh, that's the state, that's not us, but the Mill Brook past our house is us, is you guys, not the state. It's not affecting the state bridge now, but it's certainly eating away a chunk of our land every time it rains. And it's great I'm thrilled to have it go back to, pre-Irene or whatever, but behind our house now is ankle deep to me, which isn't very much. And I worry about how that is going to affect the flow and if it's going to continue to take the south end of our property. So I just would like to have somebody officially look at it, make record of it. So if we need to do something moving forward, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to see it from the road. When the snow's gone, please come and walk the property with us. And also when the project starts, our field is, obviously access to all that brook work. However, parts of that field can't be gone over with heavy equipment because of our septic system.
Yep.
So we just want to make sure that we're informed moving forward, because I got my most recent information from John and Marcia. I would have come out the other day, but I was not well. So that was one of, our concerns, is that somebody maybe can come and look at the property we're talking about.
we can certainly take a look, but just so you know, the EWP rules, the only thing that the town can work on is something that's going to damage one of our facilities. Facilities being roads, bridges, buildings, if we had one in the floodplain or whatever. That would be a state issue, as Gordy said, and/or a landowner issue to apply to EWP. But we can certainly take a look, send a note to the state, to the District Transportation Administrator.
And because you're going north of the bridge on Agony Hill, that's the structure in danger.
It's the structure that is allowing us to do that.
Okay.
Right.
Yep, thank you.
And Karen, if you are interested in that EWP program, there are ways for the homeowners to approach the state on it.
Okay.
You would need some representation or a sponsorship from the town. We'd be glad to do that. So, as Bob said, we could definitely come out and meet with you, talk with you about that, and talk you through the process if, how to move forward and see if the
Okay.
state can do anything.
That'd be great, thank
Okay,
you.
sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions on the EWP?
She asked for the sites. The
we're
other,
close to the
Yeah, okay, so the first site is, as I mentioned. Second site, continuing upstream, is going to be at the Bailey's Mill Bridge. There's going to be some armoring, riprap that's going to be upstream of the bridge. Continuing upstream to the Chase property, just across the street from the Chase property, it's starting to undermine, getting very close to the road, so that's the third site. And then the last one is up by the Smiths at right where right where the two brooks come together. I think that Mill Brook and Bailey's Brook, I think it is, come together. There's a big pile of debris there that needs to be cleared out. Okay, so those are the 4 areas.
Thank you.
Sure.
you want to mention the meeting on Wednesday? Is that still on?
What meeting on Wednesday?
Thought we had an EWP representative coming down. an engineer or something?
I'm trying.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not firm.
he is not committed. I have an engineer who's familiar with working in the Reading area here on a number of different projects. I'm trying to convince to take on the work that's involved in developing the design and then seeing the design through as the construction company goes in and does the work. They come in and certify, make sure everything is being done correctly. They're trying to decide if they can actually handle the workload at this point.
Do you have an idea of how long that project's gonna take? I mean, will it start this summer and be done by fall, or is it?
That would be that's our desire.
Yeah.
I won't have a timeline until I'm able to get some people to commit to doing the work, to include the engineers who have to do the upfront design work.
We just have a brook running through it every time it rains in the field, and now it just picks up again. Back
Understood.
through, but
Understood.
Just curious on timeline.
All right, that was the EWP update. That was all that we had on the formal agenda. Now we're into other. I know that, Bill, you had mentioned in the other area, you'd like to talk about the Energy Commission.
Well, I'm just gonna offer an update to the select board and everyone here on the solar project, and I was gonna give a brief update on some state grant applications we're proposing, as well as weather station efforts.
Great, thank you.
I think Brian's is a little bit meatier, maybe more timely, and more important to kick his
Okay.
off.
Great, thanks, Bill. So yeah, I just wanted to give an update on, can actually people hear me okay? Can I get it? Okay, great. So I just wanted to give an update on some of the things that have been happening outside of the town vote, which before I go on, I'll just say how delighted we were to see the support from the town for moving forward with solar array. We look forward to celebrating turning on the switch and getting power as soon as we can do it. So in that light, just wanted to say that the permitting process has been running in parallel to the work that we've been doing here, and we're pretty much at the last step. We're just waiting. The Public Utility Commission has to issue a thing called the Certificate of Public Good, where they deem this to be in the best interests of the public to have this installed, and it's a de facto approval at this point. It should happen soon, so any day actually. They don't have a specific timeline by which they must issue these, but they've had it for longer than is typical, so we expect it to come back soon. And ordinarily what that would mean is that we would then go to the next phase, which would be to finalize the contracting with Catamount, and that would trigger a sort of 10% payment of the total at signing, which allows them to start getting some things in motion. And so I just wanted to give a heads up that that's coming, but also, understand a little bit about, to get you all thinking anyway about how we intend to pay for this as a town, whether we're going to take a loan or not, or I don't know how that gets done. So I just wanted to raise that so that the thinking can start. And also if we need to slow roll anything so that we fall in the right fiscal year or when this needs to happen, it would be good to know about that too, so that we can play this appropriately. And I guess the third thing would be, I wanted you to think about whether or not it might make sense to have somebody from the select board designate to coordinate with on the contract piece. Again, it should be fairly boilerplate. We just want to make sure that gets coordinated with someone on the select board in advance of any signing that would happen. So that's really it.
So the sort of fundamental
Thanks,
question
Brian.
we have is, what does the select board foresee as the next steps in the process?
Well, that was a special article, right? It was approved. Basically, in the past, there's a couple of ways of doing that. One, being a special article approved by the voters. We could take the position we're going to pay the whole $111,000 this year. That wouldn't sit too well with anybody, including myself. So basically, we're down to probably a loan for some duration to be decided, and I think that would be something we'd want, maybe some input from the Energy Committee. I believe that the longest loan the select board can approve without a vote is 5 years, but I would have to check that. But I think that's the longest that we can just go out and borrow money for is 5 years.
So we did some preliminary modeling with that assumption for term based on market rates of a couple weeks ago, if you were to finance through Mascoma. And I think Brian's actually got some pro formas I'm sure he'd be happy to share with you so you could see sort of the cost benefit of going that route. The number I would get everybody to sort of focus on is our average monthly electric bill is around $7,300 a month. So I'm of the hurry up school of thought, not the walk it slow school of thought, but it all depends on how you want to pay for it. But every month that goes by, we're giving $7,300 more on average to Green Mountain Power, which we could be keeping in our own pockets to either pay off the loan or whatever.
What's the time frame on construction?
He expects that it would be about a couple of months from the time that we sign the contract to the time that they'd have it in the ground. It's a little bit on getting the subs lined up that put the posts in first, and then, but the material supply chain has been very good these days, so that won't be much of an issue, but it is lining up the subcontractors once we get this going, so.
The other sort of window I would put this in for your thought process is, 90% of the power gets generated between the spring, summer, and fall, not generating too much. So, I mean, if we get this built like in November, it's not going to generate much power until the spring. So there is a little bit of urgency if you look at it from that perspective, both the cost saving is $7,300 a month, plus now's when the sun's shining. So the sooner we get it built, the sooner we're going to save.
But doesn't this have to wait until July fiscal year?
Yeah, but they could get going, I suppose. Yeah, all of the, basically when you vote something in, it's July 1st through June 30th. But, if we're not expending any money, then groundwork and stuff like that certainly could be done before that.
Brian, do you know what the cash flow looks like for this? Do you need to have, 25% down before they start, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so it's as written in the proposal that came to us, which was what we signed the letter of intent on, but I would say since it's not a final contract, there's an opportunity for us to discuss this with them, but as written there, Catamount was saying 10% at signing. So that would be, $11,000 when we sign, and then 40% 2 weeks before they start the work, and then 50% upon completion. So, it's 11,000, 44,000, 55,000, kind of in that rough zone. And then on the other side of cash flow is us getting government money back from the federal government. That'll be longer. It'll be within the year sometime. We'll get, on the order of 33,000 or so coming back from Treasury.
So that's the direct pay element that we're eligible for. No, I was just going to say that 33,000 is the direct pay that we're eligible to get through Department of Energy's federal money. It's a relatively new program. It's like what taxpayers used to get in the form of tax credits. Now municipalities get a grant, but you get it after you do the work. So you've got to finance the full $111,200 up front, and then
we get $33,000
You
back.
got to wait for that check.
Okay.
That's right. And then 33,000 comes back. That's right. And the other thing I will say is that, Bill mentioned the pro formas. Any of the payback numbers and everything that we put before the town as part of the information was all predicated on the idea that we would be financing over a 5-year loan period the remainder of the 77,000 basically. So we can toggle it one way or the other, but certainly test any scenario we want. They're all going to pay back in, roughly the same time frame that we said. And so,
Brian, when did you say the 44,000 was due?
33. The 10%.
No,
that's the 40%, Bill. That 40% is 2 weeks before they start the work.
It's almost 55,000 right up front. I mean,
that's right.
What's the time frame between signing and starting work? Month? 2 months?
That's right. I'm thinking it's about 2 months is what he had told me originally. And again, we can.
I think there's room for negotiation on that second payment in terms of timing. And I don't know how much you want to get in the weeds tonight, but my suggestion is to see if they could live with that second payment occurring when they deliver panels and material to the site. So in other words, stage payments based on performance, not a real advance. They're buying materials, they're buying from distributors, they're buying them on a net free basis. You've been through this government contracts many times, Bob. I mean, there's not a critical need for them to have the money up front in order to place the order. They can place the order with any of their established distributors.
Right.
But I think it'd be helpful if somebody on the select board wanted to be part of those negotiations on the payment terms only. That's really the only thing we've got to negotiate with them on. Everything else is pretty much cast in stone.
How do you guys feel like about this? I'm kind of of the mind that I'd like to get moving on this so that we, as Bill said, take advantage of the sunny days that are coming up.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
If we're gonna do it, we might as well get going.
Right. So do we have to take any kind of specific action if we wanted to expend money on this project before the 1st of July?
Yeah, but we'll have to know what we're gonna spend
Yep.
and how we're gonna pay for it. So we probably need to do an analysis of everything we've got coming up on us, Bob.
Yeah.
We got a truck, we got a fire truck, we got a grader, we got a solar array.
Yep.
Big ticket items is what
Yep.
I'm talking about.
So I guess Brian or Bill, I guess we'd like a recommendation from you what the next step is as far as,
I think, Brian had a slightly different opinion. We haven't had a long chance to chat about this, but my thought would be if the select board want to designate one of yourselves to sit down with, Brian's been the point on this project, not me.
Yep.
But I think there's room to have a discussion with them about payment terms and maybe schedule them out so that maybe all you've got to go for in this fiscal year might be the 10%, and maybe we can space that second payment closer to the fiscal year is my thought process. But again, it's kind of a cash flow issue that you guys need to get a grip on probably before you get too deep in the weeds on this. But I think there's room for conversation with Catamount Solar about the payment terms.
and we will do that.
I agree with that, and I would add that as much as I'm all for like let's get started right away and start making electricity while the sun shines, over the 25-year period, whether we start in July or we start in May, we're going to get paid back over that period. Like it doesn't affect the financials of it really. It might affect it, how we feel in the first year for a little bit of time, but like it'll make itself up. So we should do what makes the most sense from a cash flow perspective for the town, which you'll do anyway. And we can work with you on that to make it right. So
Technically, are you ready to sign the contract right now?
So
Have all the i's been dotted and t's crossed?
Not until we get the certificate of public good.
What's that?
Which comes from where?
The
Yeah,
state.
so the Public Utility Commission ultimately issues the certificate of public good. And so everything else that needed to happen has happened for that. It's really just in their hands now to officially sign off on it. And they have everything in front of them. So I'm not ready because two things. We don't have that certificate of public good yet. And I don't then have the final contract from Catamount in my hands as a consequence of that. So what he wanted to know was, would we be prepared to sign shortly after we got the certificate of public good? So that's why I'm here to say, wanted to talk it through with you, but I think that's a process where he hands us a contract, we look it over and we talk about how we want things to look from a flow perspective and negotiate our way towards that as best we can. So, and then sign.
Okay, so you guys will continue those discussions as just discussing. Yeah. We will take a look at the town cash flow based on the some of the bigger ticket items that we have coming up to pay for, and see when we think we can write this first check for the 10% to sign the contract.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much.
The second two programs we're going to try to be really quick. We're in the process of trying to apply for several state grants that would reduce the energy usage of the 6 town-owned buildings. The one grant we just applied for is called SESM. It's only $1 million. It's only recently come up with a matter of two weeks ago. And thanks to the support of the select board and the town clerk, we were able to respond to a very short time frame in the RFP for $33,000 to install heat pumps, heating and cooling mini splits for the library, as well as upgrade the electrical system, which would be necessary. That has a 20% local match, which the library trustees are prepared to meet, and they also 100% supported the proposal. The other program is a longer range program. It's called MERP, M-E-R-P. It's, again, federal money coming through a different department of the state. And we, in the fall, the state had an energy company come out and do assessments of 4 of the 6 buildings that we're going to target, including the library. We may not need the library one, so it may down to 3 buildings. It just depends. And again, that's going to be how to make the building envelopes less drafty, more insulated, and look at alternative renewable heating systems for the town buildings. Till we get those engineering reports, we really won't know which direction each building's going to go. Or we hope to get those within a month, but you know we've been saying that for several months. So. The weatherization program has got its next job lined up for next Saturday. We have another potential one after that, which is Mary. And if anybody else is interested in getting their home air sealed by the Energy Committee level, we're trying to do 1 house a month.
Thanks.
So that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Brian. Any other items? Annie? Yeah.
Just regarding the declaration inclusion statement and all the rest of it, and wondering when that might be posted on our website.
It is on the website, it's posted out here in the hall.
I looked, can you tell me where? Is it on the first page?
No, it's not on the first page, it's under the government section.
So I thought we had agreed it would be posted on the very first page of our website. I actually looked for quite a while, and I could not find it.
Okay.
It seems like I don't know, I think it should be more prominent.
Okay. Recommendation? When you say more prominent, where are you thinking?
I would put it on the opening page. It could just be just a small statement, but it's right there.
Disclaimer down at the bottom of the page, something like that? Is that what you're
I
saying?
think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Welcome
Okay.
to Reading, it says right now, maybe right under that.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. You guys have any thoughts on
That
that?
sounds like a great idea, why not?
If there's room.
Yep. Cliston, issues with, no? Okay. All right, yeah, we'll look at where we can, how we can put it into the opening page, or at least close to the opening page. Calista, who actually designs the web page? Do we have,
Gov office.
what?
Gov office.
Gov office? Okay. So if we want to make
Post
changes,
stuff on that,
yeah,
we're the ones that, Esther and I are the ones that post to it.
okay. But I mean, like, the picture that's up there on it, and just the layout of the file structure, that is something that we control, Gov office?
No, that's theirs.
Okay. So if we wanted something to show up on the front page, that's something we can change, or something we have to? Okay, good. Okay. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I want to know, we've had our 4 Welcome to Reading signs up for a few years, and I'd like to plant bushes, flowers, something that's gonna come up in the spring and the fall. And I didn't know if I needed approval from you guys. I will do the planning. I'll get volunteers to help me. But can I just go ahead and do that? Or do I need approval from the town?
There's some that have flowers in the spring. You know,
Was that the Green Space
there,
Committee
There's
that
nothing
worked those?
there.
No?
No.
There's nothing, yeah.
There,
There may be somebody put some up there.
yeah, last year Sandy and Marie, I think it was, planted a whole bunch of daffodils up there around that one.
So we can just go ahead and do it? I can,
As long as they don't crowd it out.
right, yeah.
And you need to, let me know, so I let our people that maintain it and mow it know. So
Okay.
they don't mow stuff over.
Right, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm gonna work on that project.
Thank you. Really appreciate you taking that on. That's awesome. Other items. Jerry.
Okay, two, and I'll make it quick. The first one is I just want to put this out there. The next Future is Reading meeting will be taking place Saturday, April 13th at the library, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Thanks to everybody who's part of the April 13th, Madeline, I got that right? Saturday, April 13th at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Yep. And the other one, I know it's been brought up before, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, however, considering all that's been happening with the middle school, high school, once again, the school district meeting is this evening from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Yeah.
Are you saying the conflict is?
Yeah.
It's only changed because of voting last week. It is back on the first Monday of the month, according to their calendar for the select. For their meeting. They changed it because of voting last month.
Then I stand corrected.
And because I looked at that too when I got the notice to post, I went in and according to their meeting schedule.
It's just this
and
month
the
that
website,
they moved theirs.
And if there's vacation and stuff like that, they do occasionally change them, but they are typically the first Mondays. Because I've actually had conversations with Raina about it too. Like sometimes they get changed and it just happens.
Okay, awesome. Then that is a non-issue, except for the rarity that it may come up.
Right.
Cool, that's it.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
Any others? Yeah.
Just to, for the Future is Reading, one thing that came up at the last meeting, which was this past Saturday, was we're trying to reach out to folks who may not receive an email. We're trying to get it in the Informer and working with Esther on that. But we thought it would be really nice to have a spot in Town Hall, like a dedicated part of a community board or a space where we could post announcements, minutes, that sort of thing. And so just a request if we could identify a space potentially in Town Hall to have notices put up in a regular spot so that people who participate or are interested know where to look for information.
Yeah, I can get rid of some stuff, believe me. There's some stuff that's been up there for a long time. You can put it over under the school stuff, and if you want to make up a little thing to put up.
Like a backing or something.
I have just a little, whatever, what Reading, Future is Reading or whatever, to put up there. I actually just put some notices out there about seeing the town clerk before posting anything out there, because people were just putting them right on top of each other.
Right.
And they don't tend to take things down once they've passed. So I just put some notes up there, but yeah, great. When you get it, when you want to do it, let me know and we can go it out.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Okay, other? Kevin?
Is there any update on improved cell service in various parts of the town, Jerry?
I don't know why you're asking me. EC doesn't do anything on the cell side, so.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be an AT&T / Verizon / getting the towns to agree to having an ugly tower when they didn't want one.
Well, that's.
It actually, just quick footnote, the ARPA committee looked into that at great length because that came up in the survey results. It's actually an American tower issue. The service companies, they don't own a single tower on the planet. They rent from American Tower. I talked to the senior management people there, and unless you collaborate with about half a dozen other towns, it's highly unlikely they would put one just in Reading.
Wasn't there an initiative to get one within the last 10 years in the area? It was.
So they approached us for one of our parcels, and they went and started contacting the neighbors, and the neighbors were good.
I'm just telling you what American Tower said. The ARPA committee specifically approached them on that, and
Thank you.
if it's a regional tower, it's going to serve multiple communities, and maybe that's what they originally approached Stacy about. I don't know, but they specifically looked at the demographic here. It's just too small to justify the expense of a tower. But if it's serving a regional area, probably got a shot. But the big problem is always nobody wants it in their backyard. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want it in my backyard either, but finding a location is tricky.
And you guys did this as part of the ARPA? Through the ARPA committee?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sarah's got her hand up.
Sarah, would you like to comment?
Yeah, just two brief comments on it. We started to look at it at the ARPA committee because it was a highly noted concern in town, and when it became evident that it was going to be complex and multidimensional, and we didn't have a way to address that at the time, I would agree with Bill. We backed off from that. It was not. I, for one, don't think it's impossible to do, but I think it will take quite a bit of time and a lot of effort and some bringing together of a variety of expertise in this community. The other just sort of personal opinion and experience element. Our next door neighbors, when we lived in Heartland, hosted a tower on their property, which was closer to our house than it was to theirs. And you know what? It was okay.
So let me ask this, does it make sense? I'm not saying I'm advocating this, I just want to ask the question. Do we have a committee that looks into this issue to see if they're
a perfect fit for Mark? I don't know why they couldn't do something like this. Because they have connections with a bunch of towns. It's a planning issue, it's kind of right up their alley.
It would still take at least a person or two to oversee it for our town and work with Mark and do all that. So is this something that we should pursue as a committee or a representative or something like that to look into it?
For cell service.
For cell service, for improved cell service.
If you can find somebody that wants to take it on.
Yeah.
And contact people. I mean, we're not going to build a tower. It's going to be the communications
Right.
people that build the tower.
Right, but it would take somebody to champion this effort for the town to work with all the various organizations that are involved.
And areas.
And what?
And
areas. And surrounding towns, regions, right. Yep.
The dead spots in Reading are many within the town boundaries.
And
You go from here to Windsor, and there's 2 or 3 places where once you get to the West Windsor Highway garage, it's pretty dead till you get out beyond the mountain.
Yep.
And further.
It's also down to where they place the ground repeaters. I mean, the reason why there are no towers in Boston is because there are no towers in Boston. It's all ground repeaters. There's no reason to put ground repeaters along the main arteries around here. So it's not just a tower issue per se.
Yeah.
The cell networks are much more complex than that.
Yeah.
So let me ask, is there anybody that's in the room or online here right now that would like to take on being the cell service czar
I'm sure
for Reading?
What's that? I'm happy to chat with anybody interested in taking it on. And pass on the name.
If not, what we'll do is we'll add a person like this to our list of people that we're going to go out and advertise for and see if there's somebody that's willing to take it on and help champion, at least help us understand what's involved in doing this, because I agree that it would be great if we could improve the coverage. Just don't know what's involved in doing that.
In the meantime, put your phone on airplane mode if you've got Wi-Fi in your home, and you'll be fine. Doesn't help you when you're out in the back 40, but.
Right.
Put it on airplane mode.
Forces you can do your Wi-Fi system, you don't, it defaults to the cell service.
You can make calls over your Wi-Fi then instead of cell
Doesn't
service.
cost you anything, so might as well use your Wi-Fi service if you got it.
Voice over
If you got
IP.
good Wi-Fi.
Right. Okay, any others? I don't see any, then I would take a motion.
To adjourn.
To adjourn, yes, to adjourn. Not to have more discussion.
Lisa, you want to make that motion?
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Thank you, everyone.